Well, it is a great privilege to welcome my in-studio guest, candidate for mayor Anna Brennan. Buonasera.
Buonasera, amigo.
Did I say it close to right?
You said it perfectly. Thank you.
Anna, welcome. Before we get to you and your campaign, you want to just say a word about the tragedy, the massacre out of Chattanooga today?
Yes, I grieve today, as do all Americans, for the 4 Marines that we lost. Our prayers are with their family, and we ask God to please look down on America and all its citizens and wrap them in his loving arms.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Anna. Anna, first time on this show. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, how you came to be doing what you're doing. Tell us everything about you.
Wow. I wish I had as nice as a voice as you do. I apologize.
You look better than I do.
I apologize to the listeners. All right. So a little bit about myself. I came to this country when I was 7 years old, actually on an 11-day journey across the Atlantic Ocean. First setting foot on Ellis Island with my parents and 5 small children. We then got on a train and traveled to the Arctic of Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Sounds good right about now, actually.
Exactly. And a lot of things happened then. 1966, the desegregation riots were going on. We were in public schools. Of course, we were legal immigrants, and the reason we got a call to come over, the rest of my mother's family was already here. She was the eldest of 9 children, but she was the one that was married and had 5 children herself. So after the assassination of President Kennedy, we had gotten a call to stand by and be ready. In his honor, they were going to try to unite immigrant families. And so sometime during the night, we had gotten the word, and we packed up everything, took a train to Naples, and then from Naples, we took a ship to America.
What a story.
Mm-hmm. When I hear what's going on in politics right now, I can't tell you the anger it fuels within me, because the American dream is for immigrants to come here and to labor and then enjoy the fruits of their labor. If the struggle isn't there, the self-esteem isn't there, the respect of what you earn isn't there. And we see that today. So I watched my dad. I was the middle child of 5. So that means I had to fight for everything. And I wasn't the oldest son, nor was I the oldest girl. I wasn't the baby girl, and I wasn't the youngest boy. So I was just, everything I had, I fought for. I fought to be heard, to be seen, and to get my way. But that's what made me. So I'm the first one to go to a university and graduate from Marquette University with a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. Somehow, through the grace of God, I filled out my own application, financial applications, because my parents didn't know any of that. They were busy providing food and a roof over our head, which was plenty. After that, I watched my dad work 3 jobs to send us to a parochial school, because during desegregation, the public schools got quite dangerous. And he knew then that education was important. So we did go to parochial schools. Again, as my children are in parochial schools now, it was hard when I couldn't get a report card because we didn't have the money to pay for it. But we never were offered a scholarship. And today, that's all what we do.
Yeah.
Most of the functions that go on in our schools are fundraising to give those less fortunate. Sure. So a lot of times, at least 1/3 of the students are funded through fundraisers by the parents. And so fast forward, I graduated from Marquette. I became a nurse for a while, realized that nursing wasn't as lucrative as I thought it was. Along the way, I was married, divorced, and became a single parent, so I needed 2 incomes. Mm-hmm. So I was taking the same footsteps as my father. He worked 3 jobs to make ends meet, which was great. That's what created me. And I worked 2 jobs. I became a flight attendant. Along the flight attendant issue, I was my first time to travel. Travel to different cities, and I learned to love New York, Boston, Chicago. They all had these enclaves of cultural districts, Little Italy, Chinatown. And so I wanted that in my city, in Milwaukee, where I lived. And so from being a flight attendant and a nurse, I worked it so I could open a restaurant, even though I didn't have any experience. But that small business was the first thing that kind of set my family free for the first time.
You opened a restaurant?
Yes.
Where did you open a restaurant?
In downtown Milwaukee,
No
Cafe
kidding.
de Salvo.
Fabulous.
For the first time, my parents had actually a savings account. They weren't working for paycheck to paycheck, and it was more of a social job instead of my father was a cement mason. So it was pouring cement in the dead of winter, very, very hard job that at 87, he still does side jobs. You know, God bless him.
Is your daddy alive at 87?
Yeah, and he's
God bless.
pouring driveways and patios and working because, again, his retirement is Social Security that he paid into for all these years.
Sure.
From the restaurant, I got a job with Pfizer selling pharmaceuticals, and then moved on to Phoenix. I married my husband. We raised our 4 children here. I have to say that in the interim, I did go back to Milwaukee and bought another restaurant and managed that. And here in Phoenix, I've been involved in a lot of zoning issues. I've been involved in the school and the education of my kids, and kind of the argument of what's going on in education and the fact that we're always asking to throw more money. But as a mother, as a parent of school-age children, money isn't the issue here. I've been frustrated with government. And so now that I'm close to being an empty nester, I'm ready to set out and kind of give a voice to the people who feel the same frustration that I have for all these years, and kind of set the record straight that legal immigrants are the backbone of America. We are all immigrants in this great country, but it's got to be done right.
Anna Brennan is my in-studio guest. You can go to her website, brennanformayor2015.com. We are having an election for mayor August 25th, and we're going to talk about the rest of her platform. Nurse, small business owner, mother, pilot. Not a bad resume, that. Not a bad resume, that. We'll be right back with more from Anna Brennan. brennanformayor2015.com to learn more and to help out.
The only place I feel at home. Your love, baby.
My in-studio guest is Anna Brennan, candidate for mayor. brennanformayor2015.com is her website. What I'm picking up from you, Anna, is what I pick up from most of my guests, which is, they think I'm an okay talk host, but they really like my bumper music.
Yes, that too.
Yeah, they come for the talk, but they stay for the music. I pride myself on having the best music in the business. At least I hope so. Anna, you're running on a platform of fiscal responsibility, safety for our neighborhoods, open and limited government, important that, open and limited government, our business community, community services and enhancements. I want to get to all of that, but I also want to talk about another thing voters in Phoenix will be voting on, deciding this August 25th, and that's Proposition 104. Might you say a word or two about that? They see 2 signs. They see your name and they see Prop 104. Tell us about 104, and then we'll get back to the rest of your platform.
Well, starting last night, we started putting up our bigger signs, and not only is it my sign, but it says no on no on tax 104, as it should rightly be called.
Good.
Just like everything government does, it has good intentions, but we are being deceived in what it actually is. When you look at light rail across the country, and usually as a business person, before you do an undertaking, you kind of look at what's out there. Have they accomplished their goals or not? Have they stayed within the bounds of what the projections of costs were or not? And this administration or city council has failed to do that. because if you look at light rail, or I call it the trolley-like train, it really hasn't accomplished that in other cities, and it's kind of strapped them financially for a long time to come. So Tax 104 could never work here as it says it's going to do to move Phoenix, because out of the 30-some cities that have this light rail trolley, maybe 5 of them it has delivered what it proposed to deliver. Right. In those 5, the density of the city is limited within maybe 50 to 80 miles, and the population density is maybe 3 to 6 times that of what Phoenix is. So you look at New York, yeah, it's going to work. Chicago, even though the only one that's working in Chicago is the L, it's elevated, it's not on the streets. Right. So ours is the one, the current train that we have, or light rail, is already causing problems. It hasn't really gotten more cars off the road. No, what it's done is, it's taken people that would normally ride the bus in that section are now running the light rail. It's been in place 3 years or so. Already the taxpayer is picking up, for every $2 fare, the taxpayer picks up $1.60, $1.61 of that fare. And that's just the beginning. How much of it is it going to pick up as it needs repairs, as tax revenue gets less? And so looking down the road, it has the potential to be devastating to our economy. Right now it's devastating because we're taking tax dollars that, if there is extra revenue, it should really go to what city government is for, public safety. Of course. So Phoenix right now is running, we're 500 to 600 police officers short for our population count. Oh. And hence, even though you don't want to cause this alarmist attitude, but when you don't have a show of police officers, crime rates tend to go up. And I tell that to a lot of my friends in the surrounding cities, from Paradise Valley to Scottsdale. It's like, look, you might not be voting for me directly or supporting me, but what happens in Phoenix is going to affect you.
Yeah, no man is an island here. Mm-hmm. This is we actually travel through these places every day. Yeah.
So if you look at the language for Prop 104, and this is where it's deceptive, it says the first thing that it states is that this money that's picked up from your taxes may be used for. Mm-hmm. Well, okay. When they say may be used for, good luck. Mm-hmm. Let me sell ice to an Eskimo, because usually government doesn't follow through, and that's why a lot of people don't want this. One, it's not going to work. We have a city that's 516 square miles. We only have, a population of 1.5 million compared to the cities where it's working, where they have 6 to 12 million people. And then when you say, move Phoenix forward, because our population is slated to double, we're talking 3 million. We're still 516 square miles and only 3 million people. It's not going to support light rail. And not only that, you're talking at the end of 35 years, 50-some miles of light rail. Yeah. Who are we kidding? Who is that going to serve? So I know our current mayor always tries to tell his story that, as the shoe salesman's son, he took the bus. Yeah, well, we do take the bus. Yeah. And we need to make bus that operates 24/7 on the weekends, on the holidays, and goes to different areas and not just the major routes, to make it easier for people. I mean, let's face it, our industry still is tourism. Yep. So a lot of our population goes to hotels, they go to homes. And so if this bus is limited, you have to walk sometimes 1 or 2 miles to get to where you're going from the bus station. So if we're really concerned about that segment of the population, let's look at different forms of bus. I know there's one in Brazil, the rapid bus transit, which elevates the bus platforms so that when the bus pulls up, the people have already paid and they just go in, because that's one of the limiting factors with buses, that it takes time to collect the fare. But we can study those and look at different things versus Proposition 104 that proposes to deliver a lot, but has proven in other markets that it doesn't.
Nicely stated, Anna. When we come back from the break, that's a perfect segue into the rest of your platform, which really is about safety and fiscal responsibility, the things a mayor should be concerned about. We'll pick up on that on the other side of the break with Anna Brennan, Mayor
Ooh.
Anna Brennan, I hope.
Yes.
That would be great. Just a little secret to the audience, I'll tell. We don't have a webcam here, folks, but I tell you, I love candidates. Not all of them do this. I love candidates that come in here with no papers, no briefcase. They're just coming and speaking. And listen to how smart this woman is. This is great. I love it. Makes sense. Nurse, small business owner, pilot, parent. It's a pretty good resume. It's a pretty good brain. It's a pretty good candidate. Brennan for Mayor 2015.com is her website. We'll be right back.
Wash away my troubles, wash away my pain, with the rain.
Pleased and privileged to have in studio Anna Brennan. Brennan for Mayor 2015.com is her website. That's because she is a candidate for mayor, and we do have an important election to vote on our mayor, August 25th, coming right up. Anna, your platform is exactly what a platform for mayor should be, and it suits Arizona. You have the right biography. It's about fiscal responsibility. It's about safety for our neighborhoods. Speak a little bit more about your concepts, your ideas, your concerns about fiscal responsibility and safety. Just take it away.
Thank you. So when I talk about fiscal responsibility, I kind of ask our elected officials, let's not forget what you've been hired to do, okay? It's not to have these grandiose ideas to build this monolithic big city like we have in downtown City Hall. I walk into that building, I'm like, who is this building for? You'd think that we were housing the United Nations of the planets.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. So it's self-serving in that regard. When I say fiscal responsibility, it's like you're taking hard-earned taxpayer money, and you should respect it. I know it comes in gobs, and you kind of forget that it's earned.
Right.
You know, it might flow to you, but it's earned, and it's earned through a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Sure. I've been there. So when I say we work together as a community, we don't have problem paying taxes, but let it go for things that we expect our government to do. One, public safety. You know, I would like to, when I go home at night, feel that I can leave my kitchen door open if it's the weather permits, sleep with the back door open in my bedroom and feel safe. And that's possible if the city creates a feeling that we are protected by boots on the ground. Mm-hmm. Right now, every time our elected officials fall short on budget, they don't look at cutting their salaries or the cost of running their infrastructure. Mm-hmm. They look at the taxpayer. Yeah. So they attack it two ways. One, we're going to have to cut police officers. We're going to have to cut library hours. Oh, and we're going to have to increase water rates and a sales food tax. Mm-hmm. Imagine taxing your food because they do not know how to manage our money. Mm-hmm. It's frustrating. We feel like we don't have a voice, especially like something with 104 today. Okay, if I was the mayor right now, I would not want the public to be deceived by these signs that are everywhere. Move Phoenix. Yeah. I am supposed to be the taxpayer's advocate. I'd want to put out front and center who's paying for those signs, who's paying for this Move Phoenix campaign, and what do they stand to gain. That's what I expect from my elected officials, not to go along with a boondoggle. So fiscal responsibility to me, there you go. Well, how are you going to do it? What will you do when you go in? I was just at the Fraternal Order of Police, and, someone asked me, he said, you stand for limited government. You know what that means for me? And I don't know if that's what it means for him or what he's been told.
Mm-hmm.
What that means to him, a police officer, limited government means their jobs are going to get cut. You can never be so wrong and so off. Limited government means we have more money to hire the people that we're supposed to be hiring.
See, I think that's exactly right, Anna. This goes back to the Federalist Papers. John Jay, said our security is job number one of the government. And I think what happens is government gets so busy doing the non-essentials, gets so busy in doing the things it's not supposed to be doing. It's not its first priorities, that it neglects the very first priorities. And so that people think cutting government means cutting them when they're the ones who have been neglected the whole time.
Exactly. And that almost broke my heart. I'm
Yes,
like,
of
no,
course.
that's not what limited government means to me. It means that I go in and I assess, does Phoenix really need a mayor and a city manager?
Right.
So the first thing I'm looking at is the very job that I am spending my time to get elected for.
Right.
Do we need an assistant deputy, a deputy manager, and all these bureaucratic pencil pushers that really are not productive?
Right. You just named $500,000 in savings right there.
Right.
Right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's when you're out on the streets, you hear and you feel people's frustration and their pain, but they've given up. And we can't give up. We can't give up. Just like right now, I've been encouraged to raise $500,000 to run for mayor. I refuse.
No, you don't need to do that.
You don't need to do that. The people that are listening to this radio station, it's for you. You need to go out, spread the word, because together we can make a difference. And we have to stop letting the media tell us that we're not going to be able to do that without money.
Anna, how are our police performing right now? How is the police system working in Phoenix right now? How would you rate it?
I feel badly for them, and I feel badly for a lot of police officers right now, because that was at the FOP. That was the other question that was asked. As mayor, what is your role? Is it the city manager that we're accountable to, the mayor that we're accountable? And how do you ensure that between the two of you, that we as a unit do not become politicized? And, that's specifically relating to what's going on with Baltimore and across the country.
Of course.
So, look, we've been going out planting signs in the wee hours of the morning, and it's beautiful. I have to say, we should kind of go about the same schedule.
I'm surprised I didn't see. I was out there at 4:30 this morning. I was hiking while you were planting, but that's
well,
okay.
I'm not planting signs up on Squaw Peak or Camelback Mountain. Okay. Try coming down Ray or Chandler Boulevard. You'll see me then.
It's better.
The police officers have been amazing. It's at that time of night we stop and we talk and we chat, and they're frustrated with what's going on. I call it idealistic, but if there's one place where I would be idealistic is to use our police officers as peace officers, that they are in the community to be the ears and the eyes of the elected officials, so then we can see what we're lacking in. And they're there, but they're not enough of them.
More police, better government. Doesn't seem like such a hard recipe. It seems like common sense. That's why we have Anna Brennan. We'll be right back with some final thoughts. BrennanForMayor2015.com. It's been a privilege having Anna Brennan in the studio. BrennanForMayor2015.com is her website. Anna, we've done local politics. We talked a little bit about national issues when you first walked in. We also have a presidential campaign coming up next November, not just the campaign you're running in for this August, but one coming in next November. We've had a couple important candidates coming to town of late. I guess Bernie Sanders is coming this weekend. I'm guessing you're not going to that rally.
I'll be out of town, but I'll send someone there to represent me.
Okay. What did you think of the Donalds' visit here to Phoenix?
It was so neat to see so many Patriots, and at one time I turned to Tristan. I'm actually photographed with the Donald. I look like I'm right next to him, but I'm actually a couple rows behind him. And I looked at the masses of people, and I was in awe of these patriots, how they were so well behaved, no shouting other than if you heard a couple shouts, it was to get Mr. Trump to address issues. It wasn't heckling but all these people filed in. Only about half of the people that came out, and they had to wait in that heat for hours, got in, but they just walked peacefully. And it was, I looked at Tristan and said, I have goosebumps all over to see this enthusiasm that people have refused to be beaten down by the system. So I look at Mr. Trump, and he's controversial, and I like that he was holding the media accountable. Yeah. And that's what's refreshing about him. It's sad that they have twisted his words, that he's against Mexicans, and they keep saying against immigration, which is so far from the truth.
Yeah, they miss that predicate, don't they? There's
exactly.
an important predicate to that phrase.
And so when I look at Donald Trump, people can kind of look at me as because, what political experience do you have? I come with the same frustration that we know America's great, and America can be great again. We just need to get these good old boys, political class out of government. And I want you to go out and vote for people like me, and don't let the status quo taint what you think of people who don't have political experience, because what I have in life experience supersedes everything that the current lawyer, politician, mayor has.
Nicely stated, Anna. You have something else. It's what they said about Andrew Jackson. You got shoot in your eye. I like that. Well done, Anna. We'll go out with Dolly Parton, but it's been a pleasure having your voice for the past hour. Thank you very much. Anna Brennan, Brennan for Mayor 2015.com. Godspeed, sister.
I just want to
ma'am.
say one other thing. Again, please, I ask everyone to pray for our Marines and keep all their families and Chattanooga in their prayers. God bless you.
Amen.